Welcome to the March 5th, 2025 Penfield Town Board Legislative Meeting. Tonight, we have a special group of Girl Scouts with us, Troop 60598 in attendance. Welcome, girls, and hopefully you can help us lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Can you do that? Yes. So why don't you all stand up, come forward. The flag's right here, and you can start us off. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
That was perfect. So I'll give you a chance to sneak out of here.
What troop number was that, Jeff? Jeff?
Yeah.
What troop number was that?
Troop 60598.
98, okay. Thank you.
All right, before we begin tonight, I want to make everyone aware.
We need to do the roll call.
We should do the real roll call. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Barry.
Here.
Lee. Here. Leenhouts.
Aye, here.
Ockenden.
Here.
Teglash.
Here.
So before we begin tonight, we have a couple applications for resolutions that I believe we're going to table, or at least anticipate the board will move in that direction. One is, and they're related to Willow Pond. One is the seeker environmental review, and the other is granting a special use permit. So that will be, I believe, be tabled. And with that said, I just want to make a couple comments on.
Excuse me, Jeff?
Yeah,
Did
please.
you want to take those out of order and table them now so that everybody knows that they're really going to be tabled?
That would be great. If we could do that, sure.
I think as long as you have the consent of the whole board, you could do that.
And the reason for the table, do you want to share?
The applicant requested it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. More time. So I need a motion.
You need
to
the
table.
motion in a second if you're going to table it.
Okay, yeah, I'll make the motion to table it.
So
Yeah. Sorry.
both resolutions.
Right, read the resolution number.
Yeah.
Number 25T-80 and 25T-81.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to table Resolution 25T080.
I'll second.
Oops, sorry.
Okay. Vote.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee. Aye. Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay. We need another one?
81.
Yeah.
I'll move to table Resolution 25T
81.
081. Thank you.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All right. Vote, please, Amy.
Barry.
Aye.
Lee. Aye. Leenhouts.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
Teglash.
Aye.
5 ayes.
So I just want to make a quick statement on this. I mean, there's been a lot on social media going around, and this is so not like me to respond to this stuff, but I'm aware of rumors circulating on social media and emails regarding town board members having a conflict of interest with Willow Pond, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know where that comes from. It is a small town. Yes, my family, my dad, who passed away last year, was in the real estate business. Yes, he was involved in developing the senior affordable that is right across from the parking lot from the Y. So somehow people want to tie that into Costco. And now Willow Pond, somehow there's a conflict because maybe I know someone at Mark 4 years ago. I don't even know where that comes from. And so it bothers me in lieu of my father passing away last year and all the good he's done in this community. And so there's a point where enough is enough. So I'm pushing back a little bit on the conflicts and interests and the personal shots at my family. I mean, the town of Penfield has strict policies and laws governing conflicts and interests for all employees and elected officials, and we're here to abide by them. Every project goes through an application process. I don't even know all the history until recently of some of these projects that go back years until we arrived this year. So there's no conflicts of interest. Let me just be clear, and I just want to make that statement. We're going through a process with Willow Pond. I believe that everyone has good intentions here, trying to get a good outcome. It's a tough deal. You know, it's easy to serve my neighbors, you know, my political party, whatever. It's tough when you have to serve 39,000 residents and try to make decisions based on everyone and not, you know, what's going on in my backyard. In my backyard, it was Walmart. I remember when Home Depot was a big deal. It's always something. And so good customer service, from my standpoint, is the residents. It's also developers or businesses that come into this town. They should be treated with respect and be treated well from a customer service standpoint. So we're trying to do that right now, going through this. If anyone thinks they're not being heard, just because I'm not reacting to what you want, there's a difference. Everyone's being heard, and I believe we respond to everyone. You know, if occasionally we miss someone, you know, it happens. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on. I had a fixed statement, but I just wanted to say that we're all doing our best, and I believe all of us here. I don't know if anybody wants to add to Willow Pond, but
Can I just add
Yeah,
one
please.
note where you said that we're doing our best to respond to everything? I think in the last maybe 2 weeks or so, I have received more increasingly hostile emails. There was one potential threat, but I don't really know how to interpret it. Those emails I read, but I am not responding to, because in this day and age, I don't know how to take that. And so, no, I am not responding to every email. If you have a legitimate point, obviously, as a constituent, I will respond, read, consider, evaluate. But if it's just a blanket threat or really, you know, a lack of courtesy or a lack of respect, no, I'm not responding to those in writing. Thank you.
well, with that said, I mean, we have open public participation tonight. Everyone's welcome to participate as usual. There's a 5-minute limit. Just be respectful. So we'll get into that in a few minutes, but we'll switch gears into something fun. We have our heralded robotics team here, and I'd like to call them up.
Yay.
So, States this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain a little bit, and you can speak into that mic, what you're doing or how you got here?
We are FTC Robotics Team 6996 Oncoming Storm from Penfield Community First Robotics. We are excited to be here today to share an update on our season and some exciting news about our team's achievements.
For those who don't know about First Tech Challenge, or FTC, it is an international robotics competition for students in grades 7 through 12. Each year, teams design, build, and program a robot to complete a game-based challenge that tests our skills in engineering, problem-solving, and teamwork. This year, we have a team made up of only 7th and 8th graders.
Each season, FTC introduces a brand new challenge where our robot must complete specific tasks to earn points. These tasks are designed to mimic real-life engineering problems, encouraging us to apply STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math skills in a hands-on environment.
FTC is more than just building robots. It also promotes gracious professionalism, teamwork, and outreach. As a team, we participate in community services, mentors younger students, and collaborate with industry professionals like L3 Harris to expand our knowledge and help others grow.
Teams start at the local level and compete to advance to state, national, and even world competitions. Across the world, thousands of teams showcase their creativity and innovation, making FTC one of the most fun and exciting STEM programs available to students.
This season, Team 6996 Oncoming Storm had an incredible journey. On December 8, 2024, at the Finger Lakes Regional, we earned second place for the Innovate Award, which recognized teams with unique and creative robot designs. On January 19, 2025, at the Buffalo Qualifier, we won the Inspire Award, which recognized teams that best represent the first mission through their work and outreach. We also made it to the Finalist Alliance Captain, proving our strong teamwork and strategy. On February 9, 2025, at the Corning Qualifier, we won the Winning Alliance Captain title, further showing our technical expertise and competitive edge.
Thanks to this success, we have qualified for the New York Regionals, and which will be held at Utica this weekend at March 7th and 8th. And we will be proud to show how good our robotics team is in front of the best teams in front of New York.
The Penfield community can support us by watching us and cheering us on. Our matches will be live streamed on New York Excelsior First and Penfield Community TV. For competition schedules and ways to watch, please visit our website, penfieldroboticsftc.org. This weekend, we are competing at regionals for a chance to advance to the first World Championship next month. We hope to make Penfield proud and represent our community on a global stage. Thank you. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
So when you win in Utica, where do you go after that?
Houston.
Houston, okay.
Excellent.
Houston's good.
Caitlin.
Okay. There we go. That's what we want.
So there's, this is an international competition each year. This year, there's over 7,700 teams competing worldwide, and we represent the Excelsior division of New York State, where we have just over 200 teams competing. We are one of the 32 that qualified for finals to go to the Excelsior playoffs. 3 teams will be moving on to Houston, Texas for the purpose of world competition. So there's a high-stakes game coming up here this weekend for everybody. So just to give you a sense of what the accomplishment of this team, this is like having a modified sports team going up against your varsity high school team and beating the pants off of them. That is what they've accomplished to get to regionals. So this is just 7th and 8th graders, and they're going up against high schoolers in this competition. So we can't be more proud of them and excited for this weekend.
Are there ways that the community can support you? What can we do to support you?
So by all means, we are always looking for mentors to participate with our club. We're a year-round program. You do not need to be an engineer. We will teach you how to learn how to be an engineer and think like an engineer. But it is about teamwork. We need people to write. We need people who have just good ideas, people who can work with students and help them stay focused on guiding them through problem-solving process.
Okay.
And then financially, we are not financially supported by the school district. We are an independent group. We're non-for-profit through the Rochester Community Robotics, and we are supported through kind donations of businesses and community members and parents to make this program happen. So the cost for a FTC team is just a little over $15,000 a year. At the high school level, at the FRC level, that's $150,000 a year.
Wow.
So any financial support is greatly appreciated to keep these kids going. You're looking at your future in front of you.
Yeah, we are.
These are your future creators, biotech people, engineers, your scientists. So they are working on skills to be problem solvers and come up with solutions going forward.
I have a question.
Yes,
Is this the Bay Trail team?
this is the Bay Trail team.
Okay, wonderful. So you guys are going to go on to join 1511 then?
So this program can actually go all the way up to 12th grade, and one of the exciting things is with this program is that we've had to turn students away because at the high school, at the FRC level, you can have unlimited number of students involved. At the middle school with FTC, we're only allowed 15 on a team.
Oh, wow.
So we're restricted. So next year, we are starting a second team to then allow us to grow to 30 and continue to expand the program. This year, we had 230 students in Penfield participate in robotics from FLL all the way up to FRC. Do you have a follow-up question?
I do.
Yeah.
So is your main sponsor, is that L3 Parents?
It is not for our team.
Oh, okay.
It is for the high school.
Sorry, I'm asking questions. My son's a mentor on 1511.
We would love them to be.
I love recruitment.
If anybody knows of a corporate sponsor,
There you go.
you can contact us through our website, and I'd be happy to have a conversation. If you want to be a mentor, please contact us through the website. I would be happy to recruit you.
Have you considered selling those cool T-shirts as a fundraiser?
So this year's theme
designed them,
is
but they're
Into the
awesome.
Deep. So every year there's a theme to
Okay.
the competition, and Zoe created the T-shirt this year.
Good, excellent.
So this is deep water.
Yeah.
So a water-themed event this year.
Excellent, love it.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
We thank you for your time, and we thank you, the community, for the support.
Good luck.
Let's hope we're not
Tune in and watch and support 6996 this weekend.
All right. Excellent.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, good luck.
Give you a chance to scoot.
So we grabbed the
Dave, you do a great job.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. I was waiting for the little Lego thing to come over here.
I know, just trying to
I wanna
get his
throw it.
attention.
I was going to joke, sign up for PCTV streaming and get free oncoming storm. Never mind. Okay. So first order of business is communications and announcements. Councilman Ockenden, can you get us going?
Sure. Just a quick note, we are hiring for some summer positions. We're currently looking for summer camp counselors, swim instructors, and lifeguards. If you're interested, please contact the Recreation Department at 585-340-8655. And then just secondly, as we're approaching daylight savings time, Sunday, March 9th, we remind you to not only set your clocks forward, but also change the batteries in your smoke detectors and CO detectors. It's a good time to remember to do those as you're changing batteries, change your clocks at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Berry?
Penn Senior Rides needs volunteers to drive. Penn Senior Rides is a wonderful volunteer group that provides free transportation for seniors. If you have a vehicle and would love to make a positive impact in our community, please feel free to call 585-340-8674 for more information. Also, join us for the Penfield Pops Band Spring Concert. Come enjoy a delightful evening of music on Monday, March 10th at the Bay Trail Middle School Auditorium starting at 7:30 p.m. Let's celebrate the season together with fantastic performances featuring songs from Queen, Chicago, West Side Story, and many more. Best of all, admission is free, and we can't wait to see you there.
Thank you. Councilwoman Lee?
I have no announcements. Thank you.
Okay. Linda?
The next Town of Penfield Weekend Brush Drop-Off event will be held on March 15th and March 16th. Located off of Gloria Drive, these events will take place from 7:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Additional events may be scheduled depending on weather conditions. Regularly scheduled drop-off services are expected to resume on Monday, March 31st. Important reminders for everyone. The service is for Penfield residents only. Only brush and shrubs will be accepted. Large stumps, leaves, concrete, and other debris are prohibited. Questions can be answered through the Department of Public Works by calling 585-340-8710, Monday through Friday.
Thank you. I have one as well. Memorial Day Essay Contest. Topic is America Today, Our Forefathers' Vision, ? Penfield students or residents in grades 6 to 8. Deadline is May 2nd. Sorry, I'm jumping around. To begin writing the Town of Penfield's annual Memorial Day Essay Contest. The top 3 participants will each earn a cash awards along with their monetary prize. The 3 winners will present their works at the Town of Penfield Memorial Day Ceremony of Remembrance, which is Monday, May 26th. You can find the submission details and entry forms at www.penfield.org. Please remember the deadline is May 2nd. The essay contest is sponsored by the Town of Penfield and supported by the American Legion Raymond Post 1229. Okay. So
Jeff?
next, yeah,
I have a few announcements as well.
thank you.
Join Penfield Trails Committee for a hike at Irondequoit Bay Park West on Saturday, March 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This beautiful Monroe County park on the west shore of Irondequoit Bay is great for hiking, biking, and fishing with 147 acres. It features about 2,000 feet of waterfront. The trails are hilly and have some roots and rocks, ensuring a fun adventure. Please be careful. And we'll meet at the trailhead at 400 Orchard Park Boulevard, Rochester. Look for hike signs, and this hike is free, but please register at penfield.org/hike. Also, the Penfield Ecumenical Food Shelf is still seeking new Adopt-A-Shelf participants. The commitment involves providing approximately 20 items per month for a period of 3 to 4 months. If interested, please contact the Food Shelf at Penfield Food Shelf at gmail.com or call 585-234-0799. The Penfield Shepherd Home, one of the best hospice comfort care homes in Rochester, is celebrating its 20th anniversary. The Shepherd Home is mainly volunteer staffed and does not charge those who receive care, nor does the Shepherd Home receive any form of insurance reimbursement. All operating expenses are covered through donations and fundraising efforts. One of the fundraising efforts is through their annual Spring Gala. This year it will be held at Casa Larga Vineyards on Friday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. And for more information, please visit their website at www.shepherdhome.org or contact the executive director, Deborah Shabeta, at 585-381-0890. And you may also contact me for information at 585-340-8629. It is a really fun event for a worthy cause that I love attending, and I hope to see everyone there. My last announcement is people have been calling me asking when our next rabies clinic will be, and that will be June 14th, and I will give more information once we get closer to the June date. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we have public participation.
Okay. So I just want to say before, and I'm going to reiterate what Jeff said, before I start reading off the names of people who have an intent to speak. During public participation, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes as per the rules of procedure to ensure all participants have the opportunity to speak. You can view the rules of procedure on the town's website at the top of the page under agendas, meetings, and notices. Please contact me if you need help navigating the site. Public participation will not be a question and answer session. The town board will listen to all comments received and take them under advisement. The town supervisor has an authority to enforce the time limit per speaker, and speakers are encouraged to be concise and respectful to help maintain an orderly and productive meeting. A countdown clock will be set on the screens up front, and you can see it right there, to let you know when your 5 minutes are up. Thank you to everyone in advance for following this procedure. And the first person I have that signed up today is Margaret O'Neill.
And I have a couple I'll read. Just remind me to read it at the end.
You want to read those first?
No, that's okay.
Margaret O'Neill. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Jim Eldred.
Hey, Jim.
Good evening.
My name is Jim Eldred. I live at 744A Liberty Street, and I will not be issuing any threats or nasty comments. I'm going to speak briefly. I'm going to contribute a document to our town clerk when I'm done here that I'm going to make a matter of the public record in regards to the Clark House rehabilitation and renovation project. And I will have copies for each of you if you want them. I think it would be important, this will end up being in the record, in the minutes, after the minutes are approved next month. And I think the residents of the town would be well advised to read what I've written about. It's fairly comprehensive. It doesn't have absolutely everything, but it has all the important things. And I'll briefly speak about a couple things. We know something about the history of Clark House, and I wanted to talk about how much money we are spending, $6 million, just over, according to the town's own website, just over $6 million on this project, and it's public money. But the public does not seem to be well informed as to what is going on with this project, because everybody I talk to isn't nearly up to date. I spoke to people the night before the awarding of contracts, and they had no idea that that was going to happen. We've been doing work with an architectural firm that I've been able to locate copies of contracts for, and we will have paid them $610,000 plus. For that $610,000, this project is about building a new facility and attaching it to the back of our historic house. In their first proposal in January 2023, they offered three options. The first two included demolishing Alpheus Clark's house. The second included demolishing Alpheus Clark's house, the 1939 addition, and the rest of the facility, and creating a replica. This is a designated town landmark, 191 years old at the time. A designated town landmark, and an architect comes to us with 2 or 3 options of demolishing our historic house. The Clarks are the founding family of this town. They should be remembered all the time. In addition, they created a space that was enormous, whose roof line, and things have been modified, whose original roof line was over the top, was higher than the top of Clark House, higher. They encroached on a 200-foot buffer that was part of the sale contract from Dolomite. There were other concerns, and concerns always come up in construction and planning projects because things change. It's not unusual, but these are red flags. If you offer to demolish our historic house, and a house that sits like that one, there's something wrong going on there. We have beautiful historic homes in this town, and none of them sits like Clark House does on that 211.7 acre tract of land. It is extraordinary. If we didn't have all that from the golf club attached to the back, we could get a real good look of what that place looks like. Let's talk a little bit about size. My original calculations came up with this new facility turning out to be 6 times the size of our historic house. In the town's announcement of the awarding of contracts, I used their numbers, and now it appears that this new facility will actually be 6.8 times the size of our historic house. That's just under 7 times the size of the house. But in their own document, they said it should be compatible and not overwhelm. How does that not overwhelm our house? It's way out of line. Injury, impairment, and appropriateness, 3 preservation terms. If ripping off the back of the house and attaching something that has nothing to do with it, that's 7 times the size of it, is not injury or impairment, then what is? What it is not is appropriate. A certificate of appropriateness was issued by the Town Preservation Board, and they used National Park Service guidelines and other documents that they used. And those things are fine. These things are allowed, and it's a fairly common practice, but the question is, what is right for Penfield? What is right for our historic house? And what is right is having it stand alone by itself and building that new structure separate from them. I'm not saying don't build it, but separate it. And I see my time is up, so I will give this document to the clerk and each of you if you want one. But I recommend that the residents read this because it's very insightful. We're talking about spending $6 million of our money. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Laura Payne Borsey.
Apologize for having the computer until my computer or my printer decided to die.
Thank you, Jim.
My name is Laura Payne Borsey, and I live at 8 Parham Drive.
You did.
I'll wait.
Here, wait a minute,
Sorry, can
Laura.
we reset the clock for her, please?
Sure. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Go ahead.
Welcome, Jeff. I appreciate the intent to bring the temperature down. I'd like to do the same. It's interesting that we talk about people being accused of things, because I sat in a meeting just last week over at Wegmans, and I was called, or our organization was called NIMBYs. That stands for Not in My Backyard. This is not about Costco. This is not about Willow Ponds. That's not what happened to bring Preserve Penfield together. It's about the fact that we have 2 miles from Willow Pond, where this developer is telling you and put in a legal resolution that there is a need for more apartments. We have 824 that we've already approved on 2 two-lane highways. And we're NIMBYs? Our social media has been attacked. We have traced back counter petitions to relatives of developers. And we're the NIMBYs. I need you to consider the following questions. How does a proposal for a Chick-fil-A get to a ZBA before someone realizes it sits literally in an overlay district that strictly prohibits fast food? We shouldn't have to locally hire attorneys to tell you that. That got to your ZBA. That was this close to the finish line. And how does a resolution, which reads, I'm just going to say interesting. I write resolutions for school districts all over the state. I keep them from having to pay the attorney. Attesting that you need 88 more units when you have approved 824. I've requested and I have foiled anything that you can provide in terms of how that particular resolution got pulled together. I respect attorney-client privilege. I get it. I get it. But I'm also waiting for the seeker documents pertaining to Willow Ponds, too. And I'm going to look at them very carefully. I have a life. I have a very successful business. I don't need to be making this my 20-hour-a-week hobby. So if we want to put emotions out there, understand what we're going through. We're having to raise monies to do work that shouldn't be our responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy?
Lindsay Pritzpay.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hello. I'm Lindsay Pritzpay. I live at 53 Willow Pond Way. I'm here once again tonight as a concerned member of the Willow Pond neighborhood. You have seen myself and my neighbors here for months expressing our concerns regarding Mark IV's plans to put in an apartment complex in our already overcrowded neighborhood. You've heard our concerns regarding traffic, flooding, speeding, and overall congestion. Personally, my family lives on the S-curve of Willow Pond next to the proposed entrance of this complex. You have heard the story of my son nearly getting hit by a car on that curve when crossing in front of his school bus. We have met with board members, Preserve Penfield, and Mark IV on numerous occasions with our concerns. I'm speaking tonight with a final plea to please reject this special use permit. I am not against development in Penfield. I am against putting it where it does not make sense. To squeeze 2 apartment buildings into such a small area, an area that is overly congested with houses, apartments, condos, townhouses, medical buildings, and office spaces, all in one neighborhood, makes no sense for Penfield. I do not want my backyard flooding to worsen with the runoff from these apartments. I do not want my child to be hit by a car when he is riding his bike or walking to his friend's house due to the increased traffic. I do not want to look out my bedroom window into the windows of the so-called dinks who will be looking out from their 3rd-story apartment into my home. Please consider the bigger picture here, the families that you are impacting in negative ways, instead of the corporate greed from Mark IV. I refuse to be bullied by Mark IV with their promises and side conversations of how they think things will look or how they will be, with no resolutions provided. I have no interest in their platitudes. I need the town to fight for us. I need the town to stand up against this project, and I need the town to take care of those of us who call Willow Pond our neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Janelle James.
Roller skates.
How you doing, Janelle?
Doing well. How are you?
Good.
I'm Janelle James. I live at 139 Willow Pond Way. I'm here to talk about the Willow Pond project. I won't take too much of your time. I know my neighbors and I have come many times before this board, before the transportation, and other committees to talk about this. And I know, speaking personally, that's where my frustration comes in terms of trying to figure out what the best way for everyone is to help the traffic issues in our neighborhood, to help the safety of the neighborhood. So that, to me, that's just the biggest thing is the committees need to work together. So when we're told to go to a transportation committee, it's not, I don't want to use the word waste of time because I know no one intended it to be that way, but we just feel like we're getting pushed off and not truly being heard, which is frustrating. But I do want to say thank you for addressing those rumors that have been swirling. I am hoping that they are simply rumors, but I do appreciate that they were addressed before everyone today. Each meeting that we've been to, they've told us that we're talking about 2 separate issues. Yes, the issue of the apartments being approved. The second issue is the traffic. And what I feel like, too, is that even though they're 2 separate issues, they will directly impact each other. Adding these apartments, the traffic will drastically increase. And I know if you haven't been in the neighborhood to see it, you wouldn't understand because we have a unique neighborhood. Like Lindsay said, she listed every single apartment, business, medical, everything that's in there. I know we've said what we need to say, and I just want to say, for those of you on the board who have taken the time to come into our neighborhood, to drive around, to talk to us, to see what we're talking about, this Willow Pond, Sanders Farm normal that is scary, thank you, because you took the time, and I appreciate that. And I hope you saw what we talk about. I was just driving to work the other day, and I was behind a school bus, and the school bus blew through 3 stop signs in my neighborhood. 3. If the brake lights were working, then that's bad. They did not stop at all. And a bus is not where that stops. It's multiple vehicles. I feel like I'm rambling now, but something has to be done, and I'll be disappointed if this apartment gets passed because of the amount of traffic. We live a little farther down the bend, but my children ride their bikes and they walk to their friend's house on this S-curve, and it's hard when they come home, oh my gosh, Mom, you should have seen this car, it was so scary. We shouldn't have to live like that in our own neighborhood. yeah, I just really hope that when you guys think about this more, like, think about if it was you, would you want this for your neighborhood, for your family, for their safety? And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Spinella?
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Jeff. Oops. Hi, everybody. Donna Spinella, 39 Scarborough Park. My remarks will be very brief. And my comments, although in reference to Willow Pond this evening, I hope, are kind of more broadly applicable to other issues in the town. We can probably all agree that just because something is legal doesn't mean it's a good idea, at least for every circumstance in which that particular action is legal. If all of the men who work for the town decided to hold a wear a Speedo to work day, it would be legal. But would that be a good idea? Yeesh. Would it meet commonly held community standards? Probably not. And could it even result in unintended consequences for others in the workplace, like someone being so caught off guard that she trips and falls and injures herself? So an action's legality, even if that action is well-intentioned and fundamentally benign, is not always a determinant of appropriateness. That understanding is why the town board is given discretion in certain circumstances to determine if proposed actions that nominally meet the letter of the law, are permissible in Penfield, given our town's community standards for appropriateness, safety, and so on. Now, this is not to say that any laws should be capriciously set aside at the board's whim, but that our own community standards can require a greater degree of care and nuance in making sure that a proposed action fits the character and values that define our community. So I would urge the board, if and when this request comes back forward for the special use permit, to use that discretionary authority with which you're empowered in this case to deny that permit and to preserve the character of our town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony Perrone?
How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I'm going to start off script here to address what you guys shared at the beginning, because it's kind of disturbing. And I'll start by saying, I'm sorry, my name is Anthony Perrone. I live at 1935 Dublin Road, and I'm the president of Preserve Penfield. And I and my organization make a lot of noise up here and sometimes strike a combative tone. But in the 20-plus hours a week, the unpaid part-time jobs that we've taken on, we burn a lot of time and money and resources doing research and investigating these developments, and that is for the purpose of being able to engage with the town board, planning board, all of the boards and committees in a relevant manner. None of this gets done without information you can use, and we've been trying to steer toward sticking to things that are actionable by the boards. We want to cooperate, even if sometimes we're up here naysaying things. So to hear people making baseless personal attacks and threats is not only appalling, but I want to say it out loud that undermines the entire process for everybody involved. It cheapens the whole thing. It sets back whatever goals these idiots purport to have. It accomplishes nothing. It hurts everyone. Perhaps nothing more so than the very causes that have people riled up in the first place. Those of us who are organized, we're trying to keep it civil. We're trying to keep it productive. Everyone else can bite me. Prepared comments, if I have enough time here, is to address Town Board Resolution 25T-081, which I understand is tabled, but it still sparks some thoughts in my mind. I'll start bluntly. Town Board Resolution 25T-081 to grant a special use permit for 47 Willow Pond Way should not pass. While failing to address the real substance of safety concerns, repeatedly and exhaustively voiced by Willow Pond residents and members of Preserve Penfield, the resolution is also stuffed with editorializing that is irresponsible and inappropriate to include in a piece of legislation. I appreciate the desire to justify what may become the board's decision, especially on a matter that has attracted so much public scrutiny. But I believe such explanations are typically left to the public record of hearings and debates rather than being enshrined in the body text of a resolution. Refer to the 6th whereas clause in the text of the resolution. Items 1, 2, 4, and 5 are paraphrased directly from the permit request by BME Associates in their November 15th letter. What a gift to them to amplify their arguments within the resolution. Item 7 looks to historical records for guidance, as many opponents of this project have done. However, arguments posed by opponents have focused on documented rejections by past town boards of proposals very much like the current one, whereas item 7 seems to refer to a senior living facility and a now obsolete master plan. The item also quotes selective statements from past minutes, which provide quite a bit of subjective slant. What fails to come across is the relevance of this section to today's resolution. My greatest concern comes from item 8. First, this item makes a bold statement of what must be the basis of the board's decision. I could not find any such specificity regarding the grounds for decisions in either Town Code 250.14.3 or New York Town Law Article 16.274-B. I believe it to be a false assertion. Then item 8 appeals to development needs. Invoking need seems disingenuous when requests by several residents these past months for municipal needs assessment or rental unit vacancy studies seem to have gone nowhere with the town. On what basis, then, could the proposal at Willow Pond be said to meet some need? Finally, items 8 and 9 both make reference to expanding options for housing types. It is implied that this project would give residents more variety to choose from. To this, I cry foul. Penfield has rental housing already. We don't need more land to be consolidated under corporate ownership. What we need are entry-level purchasable homes where real people can build equity and invest in our town's future. We need accessible senior living for our aging population. These things are called out in the comprehensive plan, too. The most substantive arguments against this project were never about traffic or housing density. They were about the hazards of a poorly designed road, a road that was by all accounts designed by the very developers seeking for special use today. This resolution addresses none of that. It does, however, make it seem as though the town board has no choice but to approve the special use permit. The lack of choice has been shown repeatedly to be false. You do have a choice, subject to your judgment about the project's impact on public health, safety, or general welfare. You will be responsible for that decision. Just a little bit left. I've come to know you all somewhat in the time I've been making noise at Town Hall, be it directly or by reputation. One thing I can say with more confidence than any other point I've tried to make here, every one of you is better than this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony, can I have your statement? I have one more, Edward Wright.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Supervisor Leenhouts.
Yes, sir.
Please let me apologize for continuing the misinformation.
Edward?
Leave that out.
Edward, I'm sorry. Could you just, for the audience?
I will do that.
Your name and address.
But I wanted to apologize first.
Okay.
That was a misinformation, and I was only corrected later today about that. My name is Edward Wright. My wife is Karen, and we have lived at 7 Carob Court in Willow Pond subdivision since 1986. We're within 500 feet of the 47 Willow Pond Way project. This evening, I would like to propose an alternate solution to the development of that property. that addresses mobile automobile traffic, population density, and land use and security, as well as gentrification. First, I am proposing to reduce traffic by the number of automobiles from 177 to about 28. I'm doing this by proposing, as the gentleman earlier mentioned, by changing to single-family houses, or as a compromise, duplex family housing instead of apartment houses, with garages emulating houses in the rest of the PUD. I'm going to skip the next two paragraphs, although I was very much impressed by your certified B Corporation and very happy to have been able to suggest working with it. Next, the Greater Rochester Habitat for Humanity is faced with the unusual problem of not being able to get more than 6 lots from the city of Rochester for development in the year starting July 1st, 2025, compared to a typical 11 or 20 that they are looking for lots to develop. The Rochester Habitat for Humanity has a list of 900 current applicants for these 6 lots. If you go to their page, you will see what the requirements to be an applicant are, and they are relatively stringent. I would characterize these applicants as families who are employed, taxpayers, and qualified to pay the mortgage on a reasonably priced home. These are people who are on the way up, even though they are just at the beginning of the middle class economic level. Habitat families, as you will recall, are required to put in 150 hours of sweat equity into home building so that they will appreciate the property and know how to take care of it. And they will respect the property of their neighbors. The applicants have also agreed to take a Habitat course in financial literacy and house maintenance. These people can include people from all walks of life, including immigrants, especially people fleeing non-democratic and repressive countries. This may include people who have helped our country's efforts to establish peace and democracy in other parts of the world. We need to remember that the Willow Pond planned unit development was developed in the late 60s with the altruistic design of giving people of all incomes an equal footing in life by designing the subdivision with homes ranging in apartments to single-family homes from 900 to 2,400 feet. I don't know if what we have here now is priced for people reaching that middle-class rung. We've had so much success in keeping up the neighborhood, but we have succeeded in developing a neighborhood of people who are from all races and countries. So much so that in recent seminars on housing that I have described our subdivision as, I live in a subdivision that fulfills Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Vision speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. I'm proud to be a Willow Pond resident. In discussion with the Habitat Director of Development and Marketing on March 4th, it appears that they would be interested in the discussion, but that practically the problem is that she is doubtful that owners would be able to afford the school and property taxes based on the assessed valuations. We would need to ask the town board to assign a tax reduction in the same manner as provided veterans. I have discovered that the idea of community land trust may not be a viable solution, at least for the one right here in Rochester. I just Googled for an answer, however, on that, find a viable model for a community land trust, and there are suggestions. Thus, I'm asking for a continued tabling of this project, as you did today, and so that we can develop a project that lends construction and sweat equity and the volunteers normally associated with Habitat. Thank you.
Wow, perfect timing, too.
Thank you.
Edward?
Mr. Wright?
You have it in the mail. I sent it to the board.
I have it, actually, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Amy, I'm going to forward it to you now. He read from his email.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, please. How
Good
you doing?
evening. Mel Callan, 1410 Harris Road. I think what you're hearing from a lot of people is those who reside in that area by Willow Ponds. You need to hear from those of us that do not reside anywhere near that. I live in Penfield, but it's a Webster mailing address, so I'm closer to Webster. However, many of us who don't live in that area really frequent many of the businesses. And so I think you need to understand that people all over Penfield would be opposed to what this proposal is going to provide for us as residents of Penfield. And so I'm adamantly opposed to this kind of development, especially the way it was proposed and under what circumstances it was proposed, given the way it should come to the town board for its proposal, and how it has to go through the workings of the town board. So please, I beg you to not support this proposal, because those of us who don't live in the Willow Ponds area are adamantly opposed to it as well. But I also want to share with you, especially given what Supervisor Leenhouts had to say at the beginning of this meeting, because the same kind of rhetoric was done at the school board meeting. And I just want to read something from Dr. Tasha Potter, who had to send this out to people in Penfield, especially those families that have residents that go to the Penfield schools. And this is what she had to say. There's more to it, but I'm just going to read highlights. A majority of the 84 messages out of 200 were concerning, with 27 containing threatening language. 7 threatening emails are directed to the Board of Education. Dr. Potter seems to be the recipient of much of the vitriol, some of which appears to be racially motivated. As you may know, there are 4 women of color on the board. 3 threatening emails were sent to Dr. Potter directly. 3 particularly disturbing voicemails were left at the district office. The language used in these messages has been discriminatory, racist, homophobic, and outright inappropriate. This kind of behavior is unacceptable in any community, especially one that strives to be safe, inclusive, and welcoming for all. In light of these threats, we have made the difficult decision to cancel the regularly scheduled Board of Education meetings in March. The board will reconvene April 8th with enhanced safety protocols. They had to go to this to enhance their safety. It's in continued collaboration with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, who will maintain a presence in our campuses. Would we ever have come to this? We will be reviewing our policies related to the board governance and school safety. Lastly, additionally, we regret to inform you that the student participation in board meetings will be suspended for the remainder of the school year. That young girl who participates in those school board meetings had to be escorted out, and she was terrified. She's a junior or senior in the high school. Please, this is Penfield, New York, and we're not unusual to many of the other communities around us. While these measures are not necessary, they are not taken lightly. The safety and well-being of our community are top priorities, and we must work together to ensure the district remains a place of respect, safety, and inclusivity. I hope everybody in Penfield who hears this takes it to heart and realizes what we must do as a community and support not only people who work for the town, who have been voted in for the town, but also our school board people. We need some civility in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I got a couple I'm going to read. So I may butcher a name, but Richard Gensheimer, 59 Willow Pond Way, Why is a 3-story apartment being allowed in this area where zoning is 2 stories, especially since the building is approximately only 60 feet from the property line? When we spoke to the developer, he said he had a 2-story plan, but it was inefficient. How does a inappropriate piece of property enable a change in zoning? Doesn't zoning precede building when it was in place, when the property was purchased by the developer? Just I'm opposed to the special use permit. Residents' concern is mostly safety of our pedestrians, children, motorists. The proposed driveway is along a dangerous S-curve. The property was already approved some 40 years ago for senior living. Mark IV continues to push for luxury apartments, and that's where the gold mine is for them. But what is the benefit to the town? Bigger question, what is abandoned? What cost do you abandon your comprehensive plan to succumb to the demands of property developers? That's from Mary and Tim McDonough. I'm sorry, Mary and Timothy McDonough, 28 Jascaranda Court. I'm sure I butchered that. In Willow Pond. Jack, thank you. And then Eileen Anderson, 50 Edenfield. I support the Willow Pond neighbors and preserve Penfield efforts in stopping the approval of building 18 apartments on the site, or 88 apartments at the site. The special use permit and zoning variances are not appropriate for our community and that site. Okay. All right. Next item, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please. How you doing?
I'm good. Where do I sit here?
Either one works. Just mention your name and address and.
My name is Pat Johns, and I think everybody on the board has heard from me and my husband regarding the Willow Pond project. Thank you for reading our emails, and thank you for your responses. I appreciated it, and I know he did too.
Pat, are you a resident in Willow
Oh,
Pond
yes.
Way?
I am a resident. I live at 39 Hill Rise Drive in Penfield, which is part of Penfield Gardens. I'm here to complain about the same thing I was here complaining about earlier, the traffic. The traffic has only gotten worse. The difficulty is that now, I believe it is getting worse. It's at the point where we're having trouble turning right out of Brentwood Drive, which is our outlet to 441. It's bad enough to turn left, and of course, obviously, at high traffic hours, you can't. You simply can't. Because as soon as an opening comes, somebody from Sanders Farm is leaping for the same opening. It's horrendous. My husband counted one night 42 cars to pass by for us to just make a right-hand turn, and that's just going in one direction. I sometimes have to go out. I'll go down toward Wegmans, that variety, which entails a left-hand turn. I have to build in extra time, and this is at off hours, just to make an appointment or get to even the store or my piano lesson on time. I have to build in extra. I think this is absurd. I have walked to many, many houses in my neighborhood, knocked on doors. I've made phone calls to people, and all about the safety issue. I've probably covered over 100 houses in my neighborhood. No one slammed the door in my face. No one was in favor of this project. Everyone is afraid of the traffic. The traffic flows like a fast-moving river. I cannot cross the street. I can't get around it except by driving a mile out of my way. It is horrendous, and I must say we are all afraid. No one is in favor of this project, and everyone wonders how the traffic survey that was conducted didn't include those of us who live in Penfield Gardens, literally down this river of traffic that will be so affected by this craziness. And I might also add that there is a speed limit out there of 40 miles an hour. No one does 40 miles an hour. Everyone is doing at least 50 and more. And finally, I'd like to make a point, particularly for our audience, that will not surprise them. The police are afraid of patrolling the area. Also, down at Penfield, at the Four Corners, the traffic is so horrendous. I've had neighbors tell me they'd stop at some of the stores down there, but they're afraid to stop in this crazy flow of traffic, to slow down, to find a place to park on the street. It's just insane. The traffic is horrendous. It's a terrible hazard. I've almost been killed myself, and I urge you to reject this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi.
How you doing?
Roder Court. Nice to see you.
Dave, what was your last name?
Roder,
Thank you.
R-O-E-D-E-R. So to build upon what Pat said, the traffic...
Did you use the microphone?
Oh. So to build upon what Pat said about the traffic study didn't include traffic coming out of Brentwood onto 441. So let's say there's a couple hundred cars a day coming out of Willow Pond Way at the traffic light at 441 or Sanders Farm, wherever. It's going to add to this very dangerous situation. I live in Cairb Court area, but my folks used to live in Hillrise Drive, so I know very well how bad that is. I used to ride my bike over there. There's no way I would cross 441 on a bike, even at a light anymore. It's not possible. Adding 170 cars, 170 parking spots with people coming and going all day long is not going to make it better. It's going to make it much, much more dangerous. You said before at the beginning that you want to make a decision on everyone's best interest. I believe that, but I'd like to remind you that 270 people signed a petition that was sent to the planning board in August. Everyone was opposed to this. Since then, dozens and dozens and dozens of people have emailed in opposition to this. I have never encountered one single person in favor of this project, not one. So when we talk about everyone's best interest, there's everyone and there's Mark IV. That's clear. Everyone versus Mark IV. Mark IV is the only one's interest. I can't imagine how the town could be interested in this. You guys talk about safety a lot, and everyone talks about speed. There's a lot of speeding, okay? Speed bumps, traffic light. You could put a traffic cop on the corner of Sanders Farm in 441, or Sanders Farm in Willow Pond Way, and it wouldn't solve the problems. The problem is not just speeding. Yeah, that's a big problem, but it's too much traffic. So let's say you have an apartment building. Let's say there's 170 cars in there. People go to work, right? They come home from work. When kids are riding their bikes at rush hour, they go to work in the morning. What do people do in the morning? They change the radio station, they put makeup on, they text, they make phone calls. You'd be going 10, 15 miles an hour at an S-curve. This is where this project comes out, right across the street from a senior citizen home where seniors walk and they drive once in a while, not very often, but I mean, this is the worst place you could possibly put it. You know, more people die in America from from texting and driving and speeding and driving, or drunk driving even. You know, so somebody comes out of that place in the morning, they're checking their phone, they got some business appointment, boom, you're right in the S-curve. You can't see. You're waiting for big trouble. You know, it's not just speeding. It's too much traffic. It's too small of an area. You can't put that many cars in there. It's just not possible. So, I mean, the traffic study also not only didn't include Brentwood in Penfield Gardens, but it didn't include the other side when people cut through. What about New Wickham and 250? A lot of the people from Penfield Gardens go out that way. A lot of people from the new apartment building will be going out that way. People in Devonshire, when we went door to door, they're like, man, I can't even drive out of my driveway. I got hit yesterday. I mean, it's going to make that worse, too. 250 and New Wickham Drive is not the cleanest intersection to get out of either. It's a very difficult time to get out. Most times, I mean, I won't ride my bike there either. It's you can't go. So this traffic study was paid for by Mark IV. It was reviewed by the town's traffic people that you guys work with, but there was no independent study. Nobody did an independent traffic study, and I questioned Mark IV's people who they do business with. I mean, there's too many flaws in that traffic study. I've detailed that all in the email that I sent you guys today. So, you know, I don't know. That's about it. I mean, everything else that everybody says is accurate, but I do want to add that it's not just speeding that makes it unsafe. It's the quantity and the amount of traffic. You can't put 84 apartments on 4 acres in this tiny little condensed area and not expect a catastrophe to happen. It's not safe. It's dangerous. Brentwood on the 441 is going to be made worse and more dangerous. The whole thing is a bad. Matter of fact, hasn't the town reviewed similar proposals by Mark IV multiple times in the past to put in housing, and they've been rejected? For a lot of the reasons we're talking about here, they've been rejected with very valid reasons. And if those reasons were valid back then, they're more valid today. There's more development and more traffic and more congestion and more people, et cetera. Nobody texted back then and drove. They do now. So it's a worse idea. It was rejected before. It ought to be rejected again. Okay?
Thank you.
Nobody wants this, guys. Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, I'll close the public participation part of the meeting. Next item is the approval of the minutes for January 22nd and February 5th. Has everyone had a chance to review? Any questions, discussion on them?
I don't have any questions. I'll make a motion for approval for both.
I'll second.
Okay. Vote, please.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee? Aye. Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay. Next item is petitions. No petitions. We'll get into resolutions by function. Amy?
Reappoint J. Michael Allen to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Reappoint Craig Shamel to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved as written.
Second.
Vote?
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to release of a sanitary sewer easement located at 2030 5 Mile Line Road.
Moved as written.
I'll second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Addendum to the Town of Penfield Design and Construction Specifications.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, review and determination associated with the local law to amend Town Code, Chapter 250, Section 250-6.1, Environmental Protection Overlay Districts, and related sections of Chapter 250.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Adopt the local law to amend Penfield Town Code, Sections 250-6.1, 250-2.2, and Chapter 250, Article 7, to modify the town's Environmental Protection Overlay District, EPOD regulations, terms defined, and commercial timber harvesting.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Adopting the Town of Penfield Woodland EPOD replacement policy.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to attend New York State Town Clerks Association Conference.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Awarding a contract for professional design services associated with the LaSalle's Landing Comfort Station to the MRB Group PC.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Adoption of the updated firearm discharge map.
Moved as written.
Second.
I do have one typo to correct. I believe in the 4th whereas clause, it references February 2026. I had asked that the approved resolution reflect 2025. Additionally, I don't know if it was intentional in the first whereas clause, if we are intending for the public hearing in 2023 or 2024. I do recall that there were 2 hearings on this. I assume, Pete, that we're looking to go with the most recent.
Yeah, I would go with the most recent.
So I would ask that the approved versions correct those years.
2024.
2024 and 2025, thank you.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to attend the New York Government Finance Officers Association Conference.
So moved.
Second.
Moved as written, excuse me.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. 80 and 81 have been tabled.
So I need a motion, or
We
did we
did that
already do
already.
that? Okay.
Authorization of 2024 budget amendments and additional appropriations from the general fund balance.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to install additional stop signs at the Embry Road and Scribner Road intersection.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouse?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to install speed limit signs in the Watersong neighborhood.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouse?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Purchase of one Ventrac EA600 Aeravator attachment.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Leenhouse?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye. I think I have
ayes.
one of those that I could have let them use.
I know. I hear you. Authorizing purchase of 4 2025 Chevrolet 1500 pickup trucks.
So moved.
Second.
And I'll just note, this resolution, the previous one, and the upcoming one are all part of our vehicle replacement program that our Director of DPW oversees. He has put together these 4 vehicles. They're for 4 different facilities. They come out of different budget lines. But again, these are all budgeted for in the 2025 budget. So I'm happy to move those along.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee? Aye. Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorizing purchase of 2 2025 Chevrolet 3500 6-wheel dump truck with plow and salter.
Moved as written.
Second.
Barry?
Aye.
Lee? Aye. Leenhouts?
Aye.
Ockenden?
Aye.
Teglash?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Got your new trucks, Bob.
Old business.
Oh, old business.
None.
Yeah, none. No new business. I think that's all we have for tonight. This concludes tonight's legislative agenda. Our next town board meeting, legislative meeting, is April 2nd, 2025. Can I have a motion to adjourn tonight, please?
So moved.
Thank you. All right.
We
All
are
done.
adjourning at 7:50?
We are, no, we're not. Yes, no, 7:51.
7:50.
Just switched.
Okay.